the Only Leeds Bros show.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Only Leeds Bros for the match reaction. Coventry City 0, Leeds United 2. We have Dylan back with us. He missed out on the watch along last night. He passed the late fitness test to join us tonight. Dylan, how are you feeling?
Lucky to make this one, Darren, if I'm being honest with you.
Toy hamstring?
Yeah, out for the season, but it looks like I'm all good. I'm getting better, much better than what I was. So appreciate all the kind words, all the comments, etc. But I'm back in the building and ready to dissect this one.
Lovely, happy days. And we're also joined by Evie from Discourse of Peacocks and Paul from Leeds Therapy. Evie, how are you? Thanks very much for joining us.
All good. Just, getting over the excitement of 9 goals in a matter of a few days. So, yeah.
Yeah, class. And Paul, how are you, buddy? Thank God you're feeling better. I know you were down there for a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, it wasn't the most amazing last week to say what you ring 111 and mention that you've got chest pains, and they immediately go, "We're sending you out an ambulance." So you just like, well, I think this is overkill. That's fine. So 2 ladies, lovely ladies from.
Did you not say, "Well, no, hold off, I'm a Leeds fan. Just relax"?
It was close. 2 lovely ladies from the ambulance service came out and ripped the piss into me for like a good half an hour, which I kind of expected. And then my GP went, "Oh, your blood pressure's a little low, and you're a little bit delirious. I think you might have sepsis. Go to the hospital," which was even better. So
Jeez.
yeah, I'm fine. So yeah, it's been great. It's good.
Well, it's good to see you back fighting fit and in good spirits, and I'm sure, as you said, you probably have a week and a half or so of built up in you to get out on you tonight. Evie, we'll come to you first, ladies first. What did you make of that one last night?
Well, I actually thought that we created better chances last night than we did on Saturday. It's just we didn't have our shooting boots on, or our scoring boots, should I say. I was very happy with Meslier. I have been incredibly critical, and rightly so, in my opinion, this season of him, but he definitely saved us 2 points. And there hasn't been many games in the last couple of seasons where we can say that he's done that. So I'm very pleased for him. I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but he got voted the Leeds Player of the Match. And I think that will do him the world of confidence, going into this kind of, the final push of the season. I think the fact that obviously we didn't get any competition for him in January, and the fact that he's had that game, he will be feeling up here right now, which again can only be good for us as a club. So yeah, very happy. It was nice that we wound up Frank Lampard as well. It's nice that Daniel Farke got over his Frank Lampard demons, because until last night he hadn't beaten Frank Lampard before. So it is always nice, because again, I've been quite critical of Farke when he's got his own personal issues with things. He doesn't often win those games, John Eustace, Russell Martin last season. So it's nice to know that he's beaten one of his kind of personal demons, and it's always fun. I know that the EFL may write to him and say that you can't do that to fans and things like that, but I actually quite enjoy it. I like.
What did he do, Evie? I didn't see.
What with the 4-2 and some other hand gestures, I believe, as well. But
Class.
yeah, I think I like it.
Yeah,
it's just a bit of needle, and a lot of football's way too correct. So I do think that I enjoy a bit of shithousery.
Yeah, me too. And just touching on that as well, like it kind of made me laugh a little bit that that's still living in his head. That one game that was like, I bet Leeds 4-2 on a playoff semi-final trophy, and he didn't even go up that season. And then the following season they had to give us the card of honour. So it was like, read the room a little bit, Frank. Do you know, it's not really something you should be cheering about. But yeah, like, it is what it is. Paul, we come to you. What did you make of it yesterday?
The bit that I found funny was at the end of the game on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Elon Musk's mouthpiece. They basically said, he said, what was it he said? Somebody said something about Lampard, and then underneath somebody quote tweeted it and said, "Now do a shit in the changing room." just for shits and giggles, literally. Game last night was really good. We were relentless. I agree with Evie. I think we played better than what we did against Cardiff. The big difference being is that we just didn't have our shooting boots on. I mean, when Peru's going one-on-one with the keeper in the second half, you'd literally stoke your house on him scoring that goal. But he makes the mistake of, rather than going for it with his right foot and putting it right hand side of the keeper, he tries to shape himself up and go with his left foot. Dan James, I think he was trying to lob a midget, so it was never ever the keeper. But it was just one of those games. I thought Solomon played really well. Tanaka is just an absolute Rolls Royce of a player. He's stupid. Bogle is. I'm slowly falling in love with Bogle more and more and more as each week goes on. I love what he brings to the table. And yeah, we have to give props to Meslier without a shadow of a doubt. Criticising when he's been bad, and he has been bad this year, but I can't stress how important that save was at 2-0 from Sims to scoop it out the way that he did, and for it just, and to hear the away fans singing his name and chanting for him as well was really, really nice to see. And that's all we want for him. Just be switched on. Just be switched on. And he was in both cases. And he definitely saved us, for me, 2 points. That goal goes in and it's a completely different game overall. I think one of the biggest differences last night, probably more so, was that we were more playing as individuals rather than playing sort of as the team side of things. Whereas the game against Cardiff, it was very much team orientated in terms of let's get the ball in the danger area and someone will be there to score it. Whereas last night, people were being probably a little bit greedy, which, listen, I don't mind. I haven't got an issue with that. But that's the only difference for me. But listen, people need to start believing in this team. And I know everybody's annoyed with regards to the transfer window and everything and stuff like that. It's fine. I understand that. You're entitled to feel that way. Everybody's chasing us. Everybody is chasing us. We're setting the standard. And just enjoy it, because when we go up next season, it's going to be not as positive. So just enjoy it for what it is at this season. That, I mean, what, 2 games now, Cardiff and last night, that's nearly 50 shots in 2 games that we've got to see. We've not done that for ages. So 6 games without conceding a goal, ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we just said, Paul, first time since 81, is it? It was 81, I think I seen last night. I read on X. The last time we done that, I think it's 19 clean sheets overall the season. Like, brilliant. Like, if Burnley weren't so good, we'd be well ahead again. And we're just bringing it back to Meslier, Paul, before we pass over to Dylan. Yeah. I think, and I've probably been his biggest critic. I think anyone that watches OnlyLeedsbros knows that I have been nailing him all season, probably rightly. And I think he's deserved his critics this season. But some of the mistakes he's made for us, but last night, you take your hat off to him. And I think the reason being, Paul, it was one of them games where they always say 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline. Don't do that. The game's in the balance with a lot of opportunities. Dan James won the one, like you said. For me, he should be shooting first time, not trying to dink the goalkeeper, but you kind of give him a little bit of leeway. It's a split-second thought. The one then after that, for me, it's a poor square. He should be doing better. Pirro had one as well over the bar. So we missed a lot of opportunities, and I think kind of the Leeds thoughts start coming back into your head, don't they, that we're not putting this game to bed yet. Then we did a penalty shout then as well, which we'll get on to about the referee as well. And then you see Meslier pulling off a worldy save. And for me, that's a game-turning save, because if they score that 2-1, their tails are up, and God knows what game it would have went. And he'd won just after as well, touching onto the bar. So he lost his points against Sunderland, but for me last night, he probably won us that game as well, didn't he?
I mean, I think so. And, I was probably one of the most vociferous people with regards to Meslier in terms of saying that he needs to come out of the team and everything. But, I'm not a manager. I don't get paid the big bucks to manage a squad. And he was good last night in terms of what he did and where he was, his positioning, his coming for corners, all of that kind of stuff. So, you can't be anything sort of other than happy. And that record that we've got now of, I think we're up to 72 games now where we've scored first and not lost. 72 games.
Wow.
That's a ridiculous statistic.
It
Ridiculous.
is.
And the same, there's the away one as well. Where is it score first away?
It's when we score first, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, score first, yeah.
We don't lose. It just, it's nuts.
I think Paul as well with that, and just staying with Melier for a second, I think a lot of praise has to go to Farke as well, because he could have gave in to the pressure. Like, I think probably 90% of the fan base was calling for Darlow to start, and especially after Harrogate. Darlow did an okay performance, and I think I remember you saying to Evie at the time, in normal circumstances, not enough to get into the team. But what he done against Harrogate, it probably was a warranted start. Against Sheffield Wednesday, I think, was the next game. But I think a bit of credit has to go to Daniel Farke as well, because it was very easy to take the easy decision there. He didn't. He stuck to his guns, stuck to what he believed in, and probably gave Melier a bit of confidence as well, kind of saying that, I know you're making mistakes, but I still believe in you. And sometimes we all need that in life, don't we? At times when it's down, things have gone bad for you. It's easy for people to turn your back on you when you're down, but it's always them people that are there for you to kind of pick you up. And I think a lot of credit has to go to Daniel Farke last night. I think he's proved us a lot wrong. Definitely proved me wrong. He's definitely made me eat my words. But it's still one of them. It's Elan Melier. Am I confident he goes the rest of the season without doing a howler? I'm not too sure. But on the game last night, I give him his plaudits 100%. I thought it was brilliant, and possibly won the game.
And I think that I would love if he continues this vein of form or for the rest of the season, because in my opinion, too much has happened, and I would love for him and for Firpo to exit Leeds United with their heads held high, but I think we need improvements in both of those areas. If obviously we finish the season and we are back, in the Premier League, which obviously we're giving ourselves the best, chance by being top of the table currently. But I just think that too much has happened. I don't want to see Melier back in the Premier League. I don't really want to see Firpo back in the Premier League, because we know what that is like. And I would rather remember us winning the championship, rather than us losing 6-0 to Liverpool kind of thing. I'd just rather have some really good memories of players and be able to look back at them with rose-tinted glasses, rather than remembering, oh yeah, this is why you didn't cut it last time in the Premier League. This is one of the reasons why we got relegated, type of thing. I think he needs a new challenge, but I would love for his kind of career at Leeds to end on a positive note, because A, that means that we're promoted, and B, we get the best price for him, and C, it means we can just look back with fond memories, and over time we will forget all of the games that he cost us, and we will only remember the games that he saved us.
Yeah, I agree. Dylan, before we come over to you, Richard Hogan says here, have you apologised for Joby for doubting him? We did invite him on tonight. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight, but I was going to give him a public apology tonight. So, Joe, if you're listening, sorry for doubting you, and sorry for doubting Melier. You were right. You're the god. I'll listen to you next time. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't. His head will go.
Yeah, it'll be exploded. You're like, Kayla, do you hear this?
Don't go that far. Not with you.
I'll give him a shout. Dylan, come across to you, buddy. From what you've seen of it last night, I know you're kind of fairly bed-bound a bit. What did you make?
Lads, everyone's going to be surprised. It's probably the most positive I've ever been. Starting this OnlyLeedsbros and meeting all lovely people and other content creators and everyone in the chat. Because for me, the 7-0 win alone really started a fire in my belly. And then last night started a fire in Leeds United's. Because not only did we get one up over Frank, but I think we've proved a lot to ourselves with the away form. And I think that's why everyone's kind of forgetting as well. Is that this away form has really had to turn it around. But I'm solely based on Melier as well. I have to agree with Evie and Paul. Me, of anyone, everyone kind of gave him the finger to a certain degree. I was the one that was really just get out here. And really, really, really hating on him. And I have to apologise, because that was a world-class save yesterday. Unbelievable. With that being said, is he good enough for the Premier League? Possibly not. But I have to agree with what you said, Paul said, and Evie said. I have to give him his flowers yesterday. If them goals had went in, it was a completely different game. So, 10 out of 10 for that. from us. Moving on to for me, Jaden Bogle. I've been shouting his name ever since the first Sheffield Wednesday game. As he's unbelievable. His runs, his agility, his passing, his defending, he has it all over, and I think we can all agree. I think he's the best right back in this league, and I think he's going to do well in the Premier League. It's probably a major statement to see.
I think it's so good, Dylan, to see him doing well, because obviously when he came here, we've seen a lot of Sheffield United fans going, yeah, he's not that good, you haven't done us over here. His defending is suspect. Probably was when he first came in. I don't know if Evie and Paul agree. I thought it was one of his biggest letdowns was his defending, but my God, he's improved on it massively. His positioning now, but there's one thing I'm just absolutely love watching him play at the minute is he's at that very in his game. He's not one-dimensional anymore, down the line to DJ in the overlap. He's coming inside, being part of that third man midfield, doing an underlap as well. We've seen it last night. He's not afraid to go on them runs as well. I just think he's been outstanding the last couple of weeks. So, and again, this is where the plaudits go to Farke, because when he came in, he definitely hadn't got that defending ability. And Farke, that's obviously one side of his game that Farke said to him, you need to scrub up on that. Yeah, so he's definitely improved on that for me.
And we've always been saying about the partnership between DJ and Bogle. It's been immense, the two of them. And Evie will agree with this one. Like, it's for me anyway, DJ is definitely the player of the season going forward, because I just think it's just pure quality. Honestly, I have to agree. But I noticed something last night. I feel with Piero and Solomon, lads, it's unbelievable the way the two of them link up. The link up play between the two of them is unreal. It's just fluent. It's so fluent. And as you always say, Piero's not being a trampoline. It's not just bouncing off him. But yeah, I'm just really overly happy with the way Farke has kind of turned it around. I think this is the run that we've all been looking for. And hopefully now we start to create that gap. And I'm not running ahead of ourselves in the sense of, can we go the whole season without dropping points? No, that's not going to happen. But it's good to see that each individual and player has that kind of confidence and drive going into next games, etc. And obviously utilising the bench a bit more. So yeah, overall,
I think Farke trusts his bench a lot more than what he did last season as well, in terms of the because of the level of quality that he has there now. I mean, he can switch, he can put Stroke into defence, he can move Ampadu back into midfield, he can put Gruev in for Rothwell, he can move Tanaka out and put Rothwell in. There's just the options, Gilavogian to just to shore everything up, all of that kind of stuff. We're much more rounded this season, I feel. And again, just like Dillo says, we're going to drop points at some point between now and the end of the season. It is going to happen. But what we need to not do is we need to not shit the bed when it does happen. It's part and parcel of the game. We've got a 5-point gap now. Sheffield United play.
It's Portsmouth, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, and Burnley as well. So we've still got good games to come in terms of, listen, if we get Sheffield United and Sunderland out of the way without dropping points, I think then we can start to go, yeah, we're going to do well this season. They're the two toughest games I think that we've got left so far. And I don't know, there's just something special going on with the squad. You can see they're all mates and they're all sort of vying for each other and wanting to do really, really well. And they have... There's
a togetherness in the team, isn't there, Paul?
Yeah, and the high exacting standards that they quite clearly have. Nonto's not looking like the petulant little teenager that he looked like sort of into the middle of the season that we were in. Ramazani just seems to be happy to come on and play and just get involved in everything at the same time as well. Just Solomon is just levels, and it's just nice. It's just nice to see. Like I said, enjoy it. Just enjoy it for the time being. Enjoy it for what it is.
That's what it is for me, Paul. Because as I said, I'm the panicker, the Leeds fan, and I've just seen it from a completely different perspective from the 7-0 win and yesterday. So for me to be so positive as what I am, and I'm not really doubting anyone as such, and then for Melier to pull off them saves as well. So it's definitely that fire. That's a tune that Darren is playing.
Bluetooth always
tune.
does that randomly disconnects. You go.
I was enjoying that song. Anyway, long story short, yeah. I feel though like everyone individually really pulled off a performance. I don't know, like we went to the 7-0 one on the weekend and I was right behind the dugout. And I was so kind of concentrating on what was going on in the dugout because I never sat behind the dugout before. I was just chuffed. And looking at Daniel Farke kind of giving his order. So I was like a child looking at all that, see what he was doing, trying to see could I get any insights on tactics or, anything at all. Like, and when the game was gone, I moved up to kind of closer to Darren. I have to agree that what you guys were saying. I think last night was overall kind of a better approach to the game than the 7-0 because just the shooting boots weren't there. If that's and
It felt like we had more chances than what we did at Cardiff.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to feel that. It felt like we'd maybe because of Cardiff we were actually taking our chances, but yes, he just felt like we had so much more than what we actually did. And then I read that we actually didn't, but it felt that way.
Let's be honest as well. Technically, Stonewall penalty, 100%. I don't. You're not going to convince me of anything otherwise. And the goal at the end, I can't work out who was offside. Who was
Nobody.
fouled. Exactly.
Nobody.
So at the bare minimum, it should have been 3-0, but that should have been a 4-0 game overall. It's just it's.
Do you know what annoys me? Sorry, Bob, go ahead. What annoys me about the offside goal, lads, is how late the linesman had to give it.
Because
Like the players all looked.
The players
all the
looked,
players
yeah.
looked, yeah. That's what annoys me. So like, do your job.
They
the end of the
celebrated,
day.
and then he put up the flag. Then after they celebrated,
You can't do that. Like that's like handing in a test in school and then going, oh, can I redo that? Just doesn't make sense. Like, you know what I mean? I know that's a weird statement. That was the only thing that came to me head.
it's probably gonna be another apology again from the PGL OML, isn't it? Because
Sure, that's not
like
good.
what you
for
said,
apology.
Paul, like the amount of times we look back and I've watched it again and again, like the referee's right there. He's 5 yards away from me. He sees Aronson being bundled over. How he doesn't give it, we'll never know. It was a stonewall penalty is what you'd ever get, isn't it?
Well, that's 2 letters that we're going to get.
Yeah.
Just from that match alone. So, but I mean, that's just the standard of refereeing, full stop. Anyways, there's been countless occasions where stuff's not gone our way when it should have done, and we're winning games. So that's at the moment it's fine. It's jokey, so you can take it for what it is.
You can take it, yeah, and it is like that, Paul, because if Sim scores that one and we do end up drawing that game, it's a massive talking point then, isn't it? But like what you said, it's because it hasn't hampered us. We've got away with it. It's fine. It's done. We won the game. But it is like that, what you say, the standard of refereeing. For me, it's probably the poorest we've seen in the championship.
Yeah.
For all the years that we've been in it this season, I think it's dropped massively. The officiating is really, really bad.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Evie,
It's just shocking. I found myself getting so annoyed because it was like they were waiting for VAR to kick in. And it's like, no, it's been 28 seconds now. You can't put your flag up now. Even if it's not even the fact that the goal was onside that annoyed me. It was the fact that we'd looked over, he hadn't put his flag up, we'd celebrated for 28 seconds, and then it kicked in. So it's like, no, you can't do that. You got swayed by the players going over and bullying you, and by what little was left of a very poor turnout for Coventry. And apparently it was one of their biggest home games as well. But they had so many empty seats. They had so many seats covered, and they had so many empty seats that were visible as well. So I don't honestly know what kind of support they have. Clearly they're in a stadium too big.
It was a really intimidating atmosphere. Did you not see that online? We've got to make it intimidating for them. Whatever.
Because I was expecting more, Paul, were you? Like, and I was kind of thinking there was a lot of empty seats. And
I know it's a Wednesday night, but come on.
It's not been. We've seen it though, Evie. We've gone away midweek games, under the lights, and we've seen teams pack out their ground. Say, look, let's be real, their biggest game of the season. So, if that was like that last night against Leeds, I'd hate to see what it's like on a normal day today, on a normal midweek game. But yeah, it was far from intimidating, and we probably went into it a little bit fearful, to be honest with you guys, with the run that they were on. You throw Frank Lampard into the equation as well, wanting to get one over in Leeds. I had a feeling it might have been a potential banana skin after such a high the weekend. Is there a possibility of crashing back down to earth? But for me, I was actually very disappointed with Coventry yesterday. They didn't really lay a glove apart from the 2 chances and the great saves from Meslier. Other than that, I actually thought they were very poor and probably showed a little bit of lack of respect to Leeds because they were pushing up very high, which obviously gave us a lot of joy in behind. And I think, like, what we got 60 goals scored this season. I think if you're playing a high line against a team that scored 60 goals, and Frank Lampard does say, that he does his homework and he does his PowerPoints and all as well. He clearly didn't on this game because it was, for me, he got it totally wrong.
Frank Lampard, he can just get in the bin. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
I loved your tweet, Paul. The fat Frank goal was just gas. Worst thing I seen after the game was your class.
I know, but it's just I can't stand these nepo managers. They just do my head in. You've got Frank Lampard. Why? Like Wayne Rooney. Why? He's too bothered about going out and getting pissed on a weekend, Rooney, to actually, manage a team. Lampard is just. It's like Gerrard as well, and everybody expected Gerrard to just no. It doesn't work that way. You get the occasional Xavi Alonso every now and then, and that's it. But I can't just.
They look the part, but they just can't.
Hey, listen,
I got asked if anyone watched our stream last night, just before I finished up the watch along. I got asked probably the most horrendous but hardest question ever. If there was 2 managers left on air to manage Leeds United, Jesse Marsh or Frank Lampard, who would you pick? Lads, honestly, it was the hardest question ever.
My PTSD is back.
My brain was just, I was like, do I want to sit through Jesse Marsh again? Do I want to have Frank Lampard on the touchline at LEEDSUNITED? It was, probably the worst question. Like, it was a great question, but probably the hardest question that I just couldn't answer. And then it was followed up then with, because I think I said Jesse Marsh, and then it was followed up with then Frank Lampard or Wayne Rooney. And I was like, there's no way you'd be able to let Wayne Rooney out and Leeds. Like, not a chance. Like, lock your grannies up. No, not a chance of that happening. Really bad. Yeah, we're good. Evie, we come to you. Do you feel like now, it's been one of them all season. I think we've all said it as Leeds fans, and we watch a bit of your stuff as well, guys. Feels like the kind of feeling around Leeds fans, it's always been that Leeds haven't got out second gear. We're in neutral. We never really take the handbrake off. Do you feel like now that this team is starting to hit our full potential?
Yeah, I still think there's areas that we can improve, and I think that will maybe come in the games against Sheffield and Sunderland. In the last 2 years, we haven't really had. I know, obviously, we lost to Burnley, but we battered them at home, and then a slip gives them the win. But statistically, we battered them and even in the away game last week, we still had, out of the incredibly poor attempts, the higher XG out of the 2 of them. We had more shots. We had a shot on target, which is still more than they had. So we turn up for these big games. My issue has never been with the big games. It's been with the smaller games. Obviously this season we can't really pick from that many losses because we've only had 3. But it's the Millwalls and the Blackburn type of games, the real
Bristol away as well.
Yeah, if you were to explain to somebody when you say nitty-gritty kind of championship game, those are the games that I would, and those are the teams that I would say, Burnley, Blackburn and Millwall, because they're just pure anti-football. And those are the games that I get concerned about, which is why I was concerned about Coventry in terms of, but I was thinking obviously of Mark Robins' Coventry rather than Frank Lampard's, Coventry. So and obviously they had a good record for the last few games. That they've had a really good home record as well since Frank Lampard took over. So you do have to say that they weren't in bad form, and we didn't just kind of jump on the bad form bandwagon. But I do think that we have further to go. I think Ramazani hasn't scored in a few. Obviously, Nonto's only got 1 in the last kind of 10 games or something. So we've got players that could come back into form, and we've still scored 60 goals when, for the first well, after the first 3 or 4 games, we lost Dan James and Solomon for multiple games, and since I think was it Oxford, no player in the championship has created more opportunities from open play than Solomon. So he's just, above this level. I know it's cliched, we say it about every bloody lone player that we get in, but he genuinely is. I always rate a player if we get them and they've scored against us, and obviously he scored against us in the FA Cup when he was playing for Fulham. I like players who can do that and then we get them, because it's like, well, you've already scored against us, so I kind of like you because of the fact that you sure. It's like everybody would go on and on about Morgan Whittaker, but he hasn't turned up and we've played them multiple times and he's just been absent every single game that we've played against him. So I would never have wanted us to go for Morgan Whittaker because he didn't do anything. And if he's not going to do it against us, then why do we think he's going to do it for us? So I think that, yeah, we've got more gears to go. I don't think we've seen top gear. I actually think last night was the nearest thing to top gear that we'd seen this season. If we'd have had the same kind of conversion that we'd have had on Saturday, there's an argument to say that it's more. And I know that I'm not meaning to get like, woo, we've scored 7, so we're going to go and score 7 every week kind of thing. But with the opportunities that we created,
it should have been in theory, Evie. It should have been. It should have been another 7, shouldn't it?
I'm really hoping that kind of, just literally holds up side before self and just shoves it in all their faces. Because if they'd have all thought of that last night, we could have been in double figures for goals, but they were all a little bit, including Dan James, which I'm slightly disappointed in.
Yeah,
but he was, a little bit selfish trying to get, the goal when there were other opportunities. And the same with Pirro, but at least Pirro's a 9, and that kind of comes with the territory of being a 9 that you will always back yourself. But yeah, I think we've got more to go and I'm excited, still anxious because I'm a Leeds fan and that's anxiety runs through us, but I do
just
think
scars Evie, isn't it?
It's so emotional watching Leeds.
Joe B's the man for that. Evie puts me to sleep.
I know, he's so calming. He really is. That's why I could never. I have like massive kind of respect for anybody who does a watch along, because I wouldn't. I would get kicked off YouTube. I'd probably have people knocking on my door, kind of with arrest warrants and stuff. I'm horrendous.
People coming in white suits and masks,
taking me away and getting me in the padded cell type of thing. But yeah, we've got further to go. I genuinely think that we could have another high-scoring game before the end of the season.
I just want to call something out there to Paul and Evie. Do you both feel that's Leeds out of second gear, whether it was the 7-0 win or last night?
Yeah, I think so. I think Farke's teams are notoriously like that anyways. They start slow and then they build and build and build and build and build. The difference this year is that we've built and kind of maintained, and now the sort of like the peak of the form, if you like, is starting to happen a little bit later on in the season as opposed to early on in the season, and we seem to be maintaining it a little bit better. I was just having a quick look at some stats because I like my stats. Do you want to hear a really funny stat?
Yeah.
We have scored 42 goals at home and conceded 7. Sheffield United have scored 19 and conceded 8. Burnley have scored 16 and conceded 4. It just says a lot about our attacking lineup in terms of how good it is. Away, they're crap as well. So yeah, fine. I'm happy. We're definitely out of second gear now, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I feel it. Just want to flash up some guys before we move on. it comes up for me. Big up to Stephen Bourne, who has became a member of the channel. We did meet Stephen in Dublin Airport, and his friend Ray. Thoughts are with Ray. Hope he's keeping well, Stephen. Give our regards and hope all is good. We do have a Coventry City fan that has popped in as well. We've been winning until last night, but haven't played anyone anywhere near the class of Leeds. The speed of transition is frightening for this division. Good luck for the rest of the season. That tells its own story, that, doesn't it, Evie?
It really does. I think it's quite strange. I almost find it quite daunting and a bit like I've got imposter syndrome when everybody's talking about Leeds United, and just basically everybody's talking about who's going to go up with us. Nobody's questioning whether we are going up. They're just questioning who's going to be up there with us. And the fact that the odds are something ridiculous. I think it's like, is it 1 to 33 that we're going to like go up? So like that's ridiculous odds of us basically. The old cliche of the only thing that can get in the way of Leeds United is Leeds United, because I don't believe since we got, now my internet's really, really crappy, so I can't check without everything going off, but I don't believe.
I don't touch that. I just say here, don't touch that.
I don't believe since we went into first that we've come out of first. But I not 100%, but I'm pretty sure we definitely haven't dropped out of the top two since we went into when we reached the pinnacle. But I think that's we're not fragile. We were quite fragile because we started off obviously so far behind everybody else. Oh wow. Really, I need to be looking at some better odds.
Or the dinner.
But like last year, obviously, with us just starting the season. Oh God. Don't, Danny. I don't even think that's fit. I don't think that's actually possible. I think we could lose every single game and not be relegated. So I think the fact that what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought now.
Hey, what happened?
Haven't come out of the top two since we've gotten.
Oh yeah, I don't like. Last year we started so far behind, and we were just we couldn't make any mistakes. So every mistake that we did make was completely magnified. Whereas this season we're on an equal par, and obviously we're better. You know, look at Luton, for instance; they've come down and just dropped like a lead balloon type of thing. So you know, we could have done that. That could have been us if the beginning of last season had have continued. As you know, when Sinistera was leaving, Willie Nonto was refusing to play. All of these things, we just could have just gone like that, and 16 years would have started all over again for us. But I just really don't think that we're going to go out of the top two. I still don't care about the title.
Clip it, everybody clip it.
No. I still don't care for the title, but I do. The nearer it gets, I want it for
the more you want
Farke. Because I would love for Farke to win it, because he will then be the best ever championship manager statistically, having won the title 3 times. And I would love to be able to just stick a gigantic middle finger up at all of the people that wanted Farke out, because he has got so much good out of these players. You know, like you know, Paul, you were saying about the fact that Sheffield United fans and things were saying, "Oh, Bogle's not that good," and everything. And actually, I saw a tweet from somebody saying, "What the hell have you done to Bogle?" You know, with I think it was like flames emojis or something like that type of thing, because of the fact that he's just absolutely insane. But this is what Farke does. He's done the same with Firpo. He's done the same with Dan James. You know, all of these players he has improved and given confidence to, and structure and boundaries and a game plan, which is something that we haven't had since Bielsa. And not everybody was able to do Bielsa's game plan, because Bielsa never brought Dan James in to be a number 9, but he had to because of the fact that, they, we didn't buy a number 9 to replace Patrick Bamford. I mean, I don't know what kind of a board doesn't buy a striker to replace Patrick Bamford.
The other thing I think is important to mention as well, which is people often forget, is the number of new players that came in this season as well. So you've got Solomon's come in, is now a starter. You've got Tanaka that's come in, is now a starter. Rothwell, pretty much a starter now, give or take. If he's in and out of the squad, depending on where he's playing. We've got Ramazani. Just to net, that's just 5 off the top of my head that generally get into the starting 11. And people forget that just to back up what Evie's saying there in terms of how good Farke is in terms of being a manager and a man manager and being able to mould a team together that, each understand what the sum of their parts are within the team. And, it was massively transitional in the summer because of the players that we lost. And, everybody thought that it was going to be Joseph up front from the start at the beginning of this season. For me, the improvement on Piru in terms of, particularly in the last month, I would say, in terms of his all-round play, he's slowly moulding himself into a number 9 player, and just his understanding of, where players are, what not to push too hard, to look at what he's doing. And the same with everybody. They just seem a very, very, very well coached side, which is really, really good to see. And hi Joe. And when the shackles are let off, like they clearly have been over the past 2 games, it's an absolute joy to watch. An absolute joy to watch, and you have to give Farke credit for that.
Yeah, I completely agree, Paul. I also think though as well, people are forgetting. Going back to what Evie said about all the Farke out kind of people, it could be a lot worse. It could be League 2, League 1. League 1 Championship. Well, we're in the Championship. But I mean, under the circumstances of different owners, I think the owners, the 49ers and Farke have done a good job. Now, with that being said, the window just gone. We should have signed a striker and probably a centre-back. But, if we get us over the line and we just get promoted regardless where we finish, then we can turn around and go, okay, well, the money that you didn't use, but we're promoted, now you can use it in the summer to get the players that is needed. And like that, what Evie said as well, to shape up, Firpo or whoever else, just positions that need to kind of a bit more strength, because as Paul says, we need to kind of enjoy it now, considering God only knows what way it's going to lie out next season. And I'm getting anxious just thinking about it, to be honest with you. So let's just enjoy it. Let's not talk about the Premier League.
I'm enjoying.
I think it's important to remember as well with regards to the transfer side of stuff. Yes, we would have liked a number 10. Yes, we would have liked a striker, but we were only ever going to get loan players in. We were never going to go out and pay pound notes for people. Now, we don't know, and this isn't me going, let's all be nice to the ownership and everybody and stuff like that. We don't know the conversations that are going in the background, but we also don't know the stipulations that are then put on us as a team if we're going to get these players as loan players. So we go to get Cameron Archer as a loan, who I think would have fitted in pretty well, in fairness. However, there would have been probably an obligation to purchase Cameron Archer at the end of the season. Now, if we go up, when we go up, Cameron Archer has had opportunities in the Premiership and he's not been good enough as yet. That's not to say that he wouldn't be, but that's a £15 million risk that we have to commit to before we get promoted. The same with some of the other players that we might be looking at on loan as well. One thing Farke's not going to do, which they do ask for, is guaranteed minutes, because nobody walks into this side. You earn your spot in this side, and that's what these players that are currently in this side have done. They've earned their spot in this side. And I just feel like as well that it sends, and I'm just trying to think from a a mental perspective, it sends a really good message to the rest of the squad, because it says to the squad, no, you boys are good enough. You're actually good enough. I believe in you because there isn't a player out there that we can bring in that's going to get straight into the squad. Because, I mean, I think Sunderland did the best business in the January transfer window, just in terms of the two players in particular that they brought in. Would they get into our starting 11? No.
Yeah,
Would they get immediately onto the bench? LUFC, maybe. Again, this is my opinion. People could see me as completely wrong. Burnley signings, and I include Edwards in this, don't get anywhere near our side. They just
Ashley Barnes?
No.
No.
Absolutely
I'm not worried about Burnley signings.
But Edwards, you've got to think, why is Sporting Lisbon let a player go to the Championship? There's a reason for that. And that's how I kind of look at it. Don't get me wrong, they all have to prove their worth every single week. I just think sometimes, rather than thinking, oh, it's bad news. Yes, we could have done with a couple of additional signings in, but on the face of it, there isn't the players that are there, I think, that have been bought in other teams and gone to other teams that improve us in any way. Actually, listen, people can call me big-headed, people can call me, oh God, typical Leeds fan, whatever, but they don't get the harmony and the togetherness that's within the squad, within the team. They don't get into that straight away.
Farke has been big on that, Paul, hasn't he? He's obviously, we've heard of it through the month of January. He's constantly said the three things, they need to have quality, they need to have the character, and it financially has to be right. Start of the window, he was saying he doesn't see much. We seen a little bit, I think it was after the Harrogate when he came out and said, he obviously was the first time we heard him talk about position, centre back in 9 and a 10, and that kind of all got us with a little bit up off our seats. When I look back in hindsight, he probably shouldn't have came out and said that. He probably should have just continued on with what he was saying and expect the quiet window. I think that probably gave us a little glimmer of hope when he said that. We probably did with the Pascal Strike situation as well, but I think we've more than enough to go up this season. And even if we do have one or two injuries, I think we still do have enough. But it's just that Leeds kind of in your head, like, you're always going to think the worst, like what if Rodon gets injured? Like last night, I want to touch on the kitchen one on Rodon, horrendous. The knee to the head, like, could have done serious damage, like nasty, very, very poor. Like, I like a little bit of, fighting the game, tackles going in, a bit of biting it. I think we all do. But when it goes over the line like that, nasty, and you look at something like that, could have really, really hurt Joe Rodon and put him out for a long time, eye socket and anything busted. So you look at a situation like that, if he's out, he's a massive, massive miss. So I think that was my kind of lead to it. I think we're fine going forward. I think the goals tell it. We see Ramazani, he's starting to come back into form. Nanto scored the weekend as well, which I think is great for him. We've seen Joseph as well. So we've plenty of attacking power up there. Could we deal with the number 10, the natural one? Yeah, absolutely. But we still have the best squad. And like what you said, they've all invested, Paul. But for me, we still have the best squad in the Championship. And for me, it's more than enough to come up. Evie, what about you? Do you think Leeds should have done something, or are you happy with what we have?
I've got two kind of trains of thought, really. I wanted a signing or two or three. Like I would have loved a 9-10 centre back because we don't have a right-sided centre back. I have made my feelings very clear. I never want to see Strauch play at right centre back. I don't want to see Strauch play at left back. I want to see Strauch play at left centre back, and that is the only position I want him to play because Jesse Marsh made him play at left back, so that gives me flashbacks. When he's played left centre back, we have often conceded stupid goals, i.e. Southampton 3-1. I did want signings, but one thing, and this isn't me being like 49ers loving type of people, this is me being quite pragmatic when it comes. This is me being quite pragmatic when it comes. Obviously, we made a lot of money. Well, no. We were given a lot of money in the summer for signings, but we didn't necessarily make a lot of money in the summer. The fees, obviously, for Rutter, for Archie, for Somerville, we needed to sell one, maybe two players. Angus Kinnear came out and said that. So that's your Archie and Somerville. Very obviously, Archie is pure profit. Somerville, he only cost us, I think, like 1.5 million in 2020. So he's paid off. So that's essentially pure profit as well. And obviously, he renegotiated his contract, I believe, at the summer before relegation. So because it was him. Oh my gosh, Greenwood and Geldart, I think that all got new contracts in that summer. And so that's pure profit. But the Rutter one wasn't, because we'd paid 28 million, I believe, for him, because obviously, if anybody wasn't worried, wasn't kind of like realizing, we didn't have to pay all the add-ons because we got relegated. So we definitely didn't get into the Champions League or anything like that. So all of those little add-ons that would have come for Rutter, we didn't end up having to kind of to get. So yes, we like got a lot of money, but it wasn't necessarily all money that we could spend. It was money that was used to pay off a lot of Orta's credit card spending type of thing. So there was money, but it wasn't as much money as it looks like on a balance sheet, because actually when you take of all the other costs that we'd essentially got into a lot of debt over, there wasn't that much wiggle room. And as well, if it doesn't work, we're into the second year of the 3-year cycle in the championship. So we can't afford to lose that much, because it's, what is it, 8 million a year
It's
in the
something
championship?
like 8 million a year in
and
the
it
championship.
in his
39 over 3 years or something
and
in the
it drops
championship.
by like 60% as well in the third year. So
Yeah.
a third year in the championship would be disastrous.
It's not even more thinkable, it is.
If we spend in this January loads and don't go up, we are then, we're going to have to lose just a load of people anyway, regardless. But we're also going to be selling them from a position of utter weakness, because of the fact that we would have to sell them for cut prices, and people would know that. So, you know, I wanted signings. I just didn't I know that there is a justification for it. It's just annoying that we're the only ones that seem to be being responsible. And, you know, you've got teams that are currently in the Premier League that should have had, you know, potentially points deductions last season, and we would have gone up. So
this is a good one here, and like you were touching on Evie as well, saying about the 49ers, it was a little bit like when you get your pay slip and you think it's great and you look at it, but then you forget you have to pay the bills over here, and it's like that in the middle, isn't it? It's only what you have left in the middle is what you can spend. But for me, when I look at the business, lads, what we done with Tanaka, when I remember Kamara going out, and I remember thinking we were all kind of pulling our hair out at the time, going, why are we selling Kamara? I think we bought him for 5, ended up selling him for nearly 10. And then you bring in someone like Tanaka, but like what an upgrade like he was. So you look back at that business and that summer window where at the time you can't really say, because we didn't see Ramazani, we didn't know what he was going to do. Your Tanakas as well, Solomon, we knew that his injury record, we're bringing him in on loan, we know that was a little bit of a gamble. So you definitely have to give the plaudits to the 49ers. And for me, since they have come in, they've nearly done every window right. Probably last January we could have done a little bit more. For me, we did bring in Connor Roberts. We definitely needed covering in the right back position. So I trust them. I do. Is there a part of me saying that we should have recruited a little bit? Yeah, absolutely there is, because there's always that fear in you, you know, others around you doing bits and we haven't. There's always that thought in your head, and that did catch us out last season. But I still think we've more than enough. There's the one that probably frightens me a lot is the March international break. That's the one that got us last season. I think when a lot of our players, we were the good old Leeds, and we sent all our players off and go have a good time and enjoy yourselves. Obviously Wales, that happened to them. You seen it really, really affected them Wales lads coming back. I think they didn't want to come back. He had a bit of a bang as well. Rutter was after having his hernia surgery as well. So there was a lot after that March window that it was just like we were trying to stumbling towards the finish line, and we didn't have enough. So that's what I'm hoping. That's the only thing in my head that I'm thinking that if once we get over that March international break, I'd love Leeds to just turn around, and I know we can't do it, but I'd love to just turn around and go, no one's going on international duty. You don't care how big your game is. You're playing the World Cup final. You ain't going anywhere. You're staying here. But unfortunately, we can't do that. But yeah, look, only time will tell. But I do think we're definitely 100% in a lot better position than what we were last season. I think I've seen a stat last night as well, comparing Farke to Bielsa, and I think in his championship season, I think we're 10% up. 10% better ratio. I think, Paul, you'd know better. I think 60% or something like that. It's nearly close to 10% better win ratio than what it was under Bielsa the year that we won the championship.
He's this is also as well Farke's best. Can't say start anymore because we're like 2/3 of the way through the season, but he's having one of his strongest seasons ever. So it's just, I think his win percentage now is something like 58.7, 59% win ratio, which is just nuts. It's absolutely
crazy.
Yeah, and somebody, is that Dr. Cox? No, I don't live in Coventry, if that's meant for me. I don't live in Coventry. I live in Yorkshire, and I live near Leeds Bradford Airport, and I am technically, if there's no traffic, 20 minutes away from Elland Road. So
if there's no traffic, the big one. If there's no traffic.
I thought you were going to give us a postcode then. Or something.
Yeah.
Hey, Evie, offline. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Jesus Christ.
Love it, absolutely love it. Dillo, we'll get your final thoughts, buddy. Anything else to say before we wrap it up?
Just, I don't know what to say anymore, lads, to be honest with you, because it's an emotional roller coaster at this stage, you know. You're going on about the March last year, and then now I'm starting to overthink again, and starting to get the itch. I'm worrying now, saying, hopefully there is no injuries come that international break. But look, I'm overly pleased with the way Leeds have performed so far. If you want to be negative about it, you could say the stuff with dropping points at Burnley, even though we dominated, it was just a slip that done it. You could say Melia's mistakes maybe was a major issue, considering if they hadn't happened, we probably be in a higher
imagine how
position.
far we'd be ahead, yeah.
So, but unfortunately, we can't worry about that. We have to just kind of focus on where we're at now and hopefully keep grinding it out until the end of the season. But then, like, it's that fear in the back of the head, as Paul said. Come the end of the year, if we don't get promoted, next season's going to get very messy. I don't even want to think about it, to be honest with you.
So we're going up. Definitely.
We're going up. Yeah.
Evie, any final thoughts from you?
Shane put a comment earlier on about all of the backroom staff and things that as well people don't often consider. And I remember me and Joe Wayman had a heated discussion over the fact that that all comes into PSR as well. So we've employed a lot more people behind the scenes, which again the 49ers have had to do because Rads ran it like a League One club. He had the fewest possible members of staff that we could have, and that was incredibly noticeable after Bielsa left, because obviously Bielsa got paid a ridiculous amount of money for the level that he was at, but he employed all of his staff. So Bielsa made Leeds look like they ran a sensible club when actually, in fact, they didn't. So the 49ers are kind of having to backpedal, get all the staff that is actually like needed to run a football club, and also try and progress and move the club forward and get back to the Premier League so that they can because it's not cost effective for owners that have paid that amount of money for this club to be in the Championship, which is why I find it hilarious when people say about asset stripping, because there's nothing to strip in the Championship. Like, we're not really worth anything. They can break even essentially. There's not that much money in the Championship, hence why. Because if there was, I'd be all right just staying here because it's fun. We win every game. Like, it's just really, there's no VAR. Well, saying that, last night you couldn't celebrate a goal because after 30 seconds it got chalked off anyway. But it's just fun, but there isn't the money. It's not stable in the Championship. So we have to get up to a place that we're all going to be miserable in unless we have some kind of 2021 season type under Farke that we did with Bielsa. I mean, that would be absolutely insane if Farke manages to get us comfortable to the point where kind of February comes next season and we're basically not in a relegation fight anymore. Like, it's borderline, and in front of fans as well, something that obviously Bielsa couldn't do. Not saying that that was his fault, he caused a global pandemic, but like he literally couldn't have fans there. So we didn't experience it, whereas we actually could experience that.
It's going to be crazy in May, isn't it? It's going to be crazy.
Oh, and I don't know whether I've told you, but I'm flying at that. So the final game of the season kicks off at 3:00. I fly at 3:05. I miss the entire last game of the season.
I'm in Spain for it as well. The last game of the season.
Aren't you going to Africa though, Evie? Not that I'm stalking you.
I'm going to. Well, technically, I'm going to Egypt this year, and then I'm going to Kenya next year. But
nice.
Have you heard this?
Evie be getting off the plane in Kenya where Leeds Age going, yes. People looking at going,
Elephants going, what the fuck is going on here?
Here's the men in the white coats again.
Oh God, yeah, but I'm so excited / anxious. I hope we have nothing to play for.
I'd hope Evie by the Bristol, the last home game. I'd like to be home and house so we can kind of celebrate it then. That's because I'm going to that one. I definitely won't be going to Plymouth, so I'm going to that one, and hopefully that's the one where we can celebrate promotion at that one. I'd love that. So yeah, let's hope it doesn't go to the last day. Imagine traveling down to Plymouth.
Quick little moan about Sky again.
Yeah, go for
the Portsmouth game.
Yeah,
12:15 on a Sunday morning.
It's a joke.
What's that?
It's an atmosphere killer, Evie, isn't it?
Yeah,
it just kills the atmosphere.
I feel sorry for Portsmouth as well because of the fact that
the travel and everything.
It's just a lot of traveling for us to do, and then it's going to be really difficult, really boring. Just get rid of 3:00. The blackout. Because I mean, none of us watch 3:00 kickoffs ever.
I don't watch it on movie. I don't even do watch it.
I'm all about the visual radio myself.
Absolutely. So it's just really annoying. It's just something that really annoys me that, obviously I don't travel away, but I have a great deal of empathy for any traveling fan, not just Leeds fans, but just I hate the fact that they change it and do not give a damn.
Because it was like Bristol away, Evie, wasn't it? Yeah. I remember like when they changed that as well to an early kick-off, and Sean from Wilco White, who has his own channel as well, was travelling to that game, and he was up at stupid o'clock. I think he was up at 3:30 in the morning to travel down there as well, and he was just like literally by the time I was walking into Ashton Gate, he said his energy was just on the floor. He said he just couldn't get going. As much as he was buzzing to go see Leeds, he said he couldn't get going, and you could feel it. I remember the ground that day was just completely flat. You might as well have been playing a game like that behind closed doors, but it's not for the fans at all, is it? Like, no, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
It's not. And a lot of these clubs, especially in the Championship, you can't get direct travel to. So you're having to, if you're getting like a train, you're having to go on multiple trains, and then obviously the trains in this country are an absolute joke. So it'll be a replacement bus service. So you by the time you get there, the game's already been played and you've lost, and then you have to make a 9-hour journey back again.
Do you remember LUFC Lewis when he went to the away game at Swansea, which was basically when he was on the coach, and it was literally in about 6 feet.
Seen it.
Oh, it's a war.
Yeah.
Going all the way to the game. That was hilarious, but yeah.
Yeah, we've been caught a few times myself now, because obviously, remember weren't they doing this chunk where they do 3 weeks, where if they're going to change a fixture, they have to do it 3 or 4 weeks in advance or something like that. So when me and Dylan were travelling over to Leeds, we'd obviously like try and book flights, and it'd be like that 3:00 game on a Saturday, and we'd be like, lovely, yeah, we'd go to that one. And then like a week before the game, it's like, oh yeah, it's changed now to, the Friday night, and we've just like lost out money on flights and hotels, and it used to just be absolutely meant for us. So we used to, it's always saying, oh, you book the flight earlier on, you get it cheaper, but like we can't do that because we're like waiting then, to see what it's going to be, and then you do book it, then you run the risk of it being changed and losing out on money. So it was horrendous. So I like it a little bit better this season that they are doing it in advance, but you'd like them just early kickoffs for me. Yeah, I don't mind midweek games under the lights at Elland Road. Love them. That's probably when our atmosphere is the best. But yeah, them early kickoffs travelling away, you feel sorry. I agree with Evie for them travelling fans. It's not right, not what football should all be about. And you say football's for the fans, it's not for the money. It's not a TV show, as some say.
I don't
No,
feel like
I-
we've had to complain what reciprocal pricing means as much this season either,
Oh yeah, true.
which is quite good fun.
Mm,
I'm
yeah.
happy about that.
Yeah,
I'm
me too.
doing a bit of research into like football for the fans and things, and you know that the cost since the early 90s of tickets for Premier League games have gone up over 800%.
Doesn't surprise me. Aston Villa charge you £500 to be a mascot, by the way.
A mascot.
Yeah, I read that. I read that somewhere. There's a handful of teams are free, Paul. Am I right?
Yeah.
I seen that
Should
somewhere. I
be
think I seen
free,
that.
lads. Should be free for the kids, shouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Somebody else said that they were going to Italy to watch Milan play somebody, and I think it was AC Milan to play somebody. The ticket for the game was £10. The flight to Italy was £45, and the hotel accommodation was also £45. A ticket to go and watch Aston Villa in the Champions League is £100 flat rate.
Lord,
It's madness, isn't it?
Lord. Yeah, it's not right, isn't it? It's not right, the price of tickets nowadays as well. Even seeing, I think someone put up a picture of their Lazio ticket when we played Lazio in the Champions League at Elland Road, and I think it was like £20 for a Champions League ticket in 2000. Like wow, like what? 25 years later, what are we paying? What's it in Elland Road now? 45 minimum, probably 44.
Depending on the category of game, and depending on which stand you go in, so you can get a ticket for about £38 if it's not a category A game, but you can pay in the West Stand, you can pay like £52 for a ticket.
Yeah, that's what we were in the West. I think all in all with our exchange rate, we probably paid about €60, Dylan, wasn't it? So I think it was 50 booking fee, but give or take probably about €60 for a match ticket for a championship. Like, look, we'd pay €160, Dylan, wouldn't we? Anytime we're going over the league.
Every single time. But yeah, you get robbed. You get absolutely robbed.
It should be this though. I love the way Germany do it as well. Like Germany, they take no shit over there, don't they? It's just like football is properly for the fans over there. They bring beer to the stand, everything. Yeah, just class. Yeah, lads, we went way off topic there. Next couple of games, lads, just before we wrap it up, are obviously tough ones. We've got Watford next, Sunderland, Sheffield United. Paul, you did touch on it earlier on. I do think if we come through these games unscathed, and even I know we want to win every game of football, of course we do, but I think if we can get by Sunderland, which I think is going to be a tough one at Elland Road, and then Sheffield United at Bramble Lane, that's probably the light at the end of the tunnel there, isn't it?
I think so. I very, very much think so. I mean, obviously we've got Millwall in the FA Cup. We've just got to keep winning. I think we'll just look for a performance in that. There'll be changes. It's Watford away. Yeah. It is the next one, and then the biggies. But I think if we don't come out of there dropping too many points, I mean, technically we should go into every game like we're going to win it. And something tells me, see, this is the thing. This is the Leeds United syndrome that we all have, is that we all sit there going, "Oh, we might drop points. Oh, we might drop points there." And what we don't think about is that other teams might be thinking, "Yeah, we've got to play Leeds." Do you know what I mean? That look at what they're doing at the moment, but because we've got that Leeds United syndrome, and we just think, oh.
That's a banana skin.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, every game's a banana skin, isn't it? But there's no reason why we can't get the 9 points that we want out of those 3 games in particular. So
I'd love Portsmouth to do us a favour the weekend, even if it's a draw, because
100%.
I think where I'm at now is that if we can keep more than a 3-point gap from Sheffield United, and even by the off chance, and I don't like being negative because I'm not a negative Leeds fan, if we go to Bramble Lane and we do lose, even if they do have to pick up 3 points, we still have a point or two. Bit of a cushion there. And I'd hate to go to Bramble Lane like that with only 2 points ahead of them. Kind of gives them a little bit of a carrot. Well, if we beat Leeds today, we go top, and I'd like just to extend that lead. So fingers crossed that Portsmouth do something on the weekend. Highly unlikely, but we never know. It's the championship, isn't it? Anyone? Go ahead, Paul.
Sorry, that block of games is nuts, though, isn't it? We've got Watford, Sunderland, Sheffield United, West Brom.
Mm-hmm. And there's a tough one after that. Yeah, isn't there another one after that?
Portsmouth,
we've got Portsmouth, Queen's Park Rangers. A little
50,
bit of a dark horse.
They're on
15th of March. I would love us to stuff them. I really would. I really would. You know, I won't forgive the players for last season QPR. So if they could do that, and actually, you know, if anybody other than just Firpo could turn up in that game, that would be fantastic. So yeah, I would like to absolutely stuff QPR and West Brom. You don't know what West Brom you're going to get, obviously,
That's
with
it,
the new manager.
yeah.
They're a little bit kind of chaotic. They're no longer kind of ultimate draw specialist. You know, Burnley have well and truly taken that title off them.
Home, isn't it?
No, it's at home.
Home.
But I do feel confident because we're at home. As long as there's nobody, you know, just handballing it into the net like they did last season, then that would be fantastic. Because again, that was another game we should have won.
Yeah, two of the key games that we've got coming up with Sunderland and West Brom are at home, which I'm not overly concerned about. West Brom are, in terms of their last 6 games, drawn, lost, won, lost. So they lost 2-1 at Plymouth. So it's
This league. This league's
nuts.
Yeah, crazy. Lads, look, I think we'll leave it there. Done nearly an hour. Thanks very much to Paul from Leeds Therapy for popping on, giving up his time. Evie from Discourse, the Peacocks. Go check them out, guys. Really, really good content over there. And Dillo, you're back fighting fit. We didn't let you do much talking tonight. We just let you pop in and listen. You're sounding a bit better anyway, buddy.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, we will be back with player ratings tomorrow morning, guys, for Coventry. So yeah, myself and Dylan will be doing that now as a pre-recording. That will be out for everyone in the morning. So yeah, the show never stops. Evie, what's happening over in Discourse of Peacocks?
I was going to do my review today, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm way too tired to do it tonight. So yeah, that will be out at some point tomorrow. You know, just right before we have another game. No, absolutely. I am female, and you know, as they always say, women are like elephants. We don't forget. So yeah, if they could repay me for my tears last year, that would be fantastic.
Paul, you've got so many compliments on that jumper tonight.
No, somebody's digging me out. No, this is a laser show thingy. It's from China. It's from China. China. This is. You might not believe it, but this is like a quadruple XL. So because Chinese people happen to be small, you have to get big sizes. Otherwise,
you'll always get it. You'll be like, no, medium will be fine, and you get it, and it's stuck on you, and you're like, oh, am I getting fat or just really small?
It makes it weird. Is that I don't understand what it is, but they can't get like arm lengths right, and then the body length right.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, it's one or the other. It is. It's one or the other. I don't. Just weird.
It happens to me all the time. And I go to the missus, is that all right? And then she goes,
for the avoidance of doubt, I don't think Chinese people.
It's the worst when you lift your arms and then the top just comes up, isn't it? You're just like, can't lift my arms, just keep my arms down.
Yeah, everybody can see all the fluff in my belly button.
I was going to say something there, but we'll wrap it up there, guys. Thanks very much for popping on. Please, before you leave, don't forget to smash a like on the video, hit subscribe to the channel, go check Paul at Leeds Therapy, Evie at Discourse of Peacocks, and we'll chat you all again soon. Have a great night. Mind yourselves and mind each other.